Bravo, guys. Bravo. We did it. We did it. Well, wrestling card collectors, we did it. We finally got wrestling into the mainstream of the hobby. But is that actually a good thing? Stick around and find out. This is the Wrestling Card Market Watch for April 2022. What's up, wrestling fans and trading card collectors? Welcome to another episode of Wrestling with Cards. April was one of the wildest months we've ever seen in the wrestling card hobby, and most of it centered around the inaugural WWE Panini Prism release. I've talked before on these Market Watch videos that I'm kind of trying to mix up the format a little bit, and this one will be no exception because this episode is going to be completely dedicated to the WWE Panini release, and everything that kind of followed it, both the good and the bad, and what I think about it. I gave a lot of my thoughts and opinions pre-release, but since this product has been released, there's been a lot of opinions on Twitter and Facebook, Instagram, all kinds of social media platforms, podcasts, etc., and I really haven't given too much of my opinion, so that's what I'm going to talk about a little bit today. But, as always, before we get into that, just a few reminders of how you, the viewers, can help show your support for this content. The easiest thing you can do, it's there, right on your screen right now. It's free. Hit that subscribe button, one of the best ways you can help show your support to the content. And if you're digging this video or the past videos, give me a like. Make sure to check out the Worlds Collide podcast. Myself and Tony Vella from WrestlingTradingCards.com each week drops every Wednesday morning. We get together and we're talking all things wrestling cards. And if you enjoy those shows, please subscribe on there as well. It's available on pretty much all your favorite popular podcast platforms. Just search Worlds Collide Wrestling Card Podcast. I'm sure you'll find it. If you would like to help to show your support monetarily to keep these videos going, make sure to check out Wrestling with Cards on Patreon. As low as $1 a month, which, trust me, that $1 will go a long way over time. You can help show your support to my content by joining the Patreon community. You'll get your name in the credits of these videos. There are higher tiers that you can go up in, and you get more for your money that way. Exclusive content, bonus videos, exclusive opportunities to other things that may be coming down the road. You never know what's going to be on there. But again, it's just another way you can show your support. And if you would just like to purchase something, check out my eBay store, where you can find cards as little as $1.50 shipped. Tons of wrestling on there. I'm always getting new inventory and just kind of listing stuff as I can have time to list it in bulk. We've got thousands of listings up right now, and that's just another way that you can show your support and then get cool cards in the process. There's links below also to all my social platforms. Whatever you're on, I'm probably on it. And, if you want to share this show or one of my other videos, or just reach out to me, you can tag me in anything. Happy to just interact with you as much as possible. That's all down there below. And, of course, links to buy me a coffee. Today, you, the viewers, have sponsored my Bang Birthday Cake Bash Coffee Protein. Not the greatest option, but I love birthday cake flavor stuff. Love coffee. Can't go wrong with some protein in the mornings, which is when I'm recording this. So again, thank you guys for purchasing this drink and allowing me to put out this video. Let's get into last month's sales, and wow, we've got a lot to talk about. So for this video, I've broken down 4 main points that have to do with the inaugural Panini Prism release. And we're going to hit each one of those, talk a little bit about it, and then I'll give you my opinions on it. So let's start with wrestling cards break into the mainstream. As I said to kick this video off, wrestling cards have officially penetrated the mainstream like never before. People that had no interest in wrestling cards beforehand, they were the ones dabbling in the sports and all the, flippers, what a lot of people like to talk about, just out there trying to get into what's popular and cool and what they can make money on, all the way to the lapsed fan. Maybe they were somebody that grew up in the 80s, they liked 80s top stuff or whatever, and they just hadn't been messing with wrestling cards. Or maybe they were 90s Attitude Era fans, and all of a sudden they see their favorite stars from the 80s and 90s being produced on these cool, shiny Prism cards. All of those groups of people I've mentioned, they're all talking about WWE Prism cards now. As I said, some seemed genuinely excited about it, as if they didn't know that Topps had been making wrestling cards this whole time. They see Panini and Prism, and they know what they've seen in the main headlines as far as like what that product is producing in the sports card world, and what the values of those cards are going for. And then they're like, hey, I remember The Rock, I remember Undertaker, I remember Hulk Hogan or Dusty Rhodes or whoever it is. I want to get into some of this Prism. Now, obviously, there were the ones out there that are just strictly trying to make money on this product, and again, that's fine. But we started seeing hobby boxes flying off the virtual shelves, so to speak. They're going for some really high prices. We even started seeing Panini hype up this product. We started seeing them talk about it, which means people that follow their brand religiously and are the Prism boys, what many people like to call them, they started saying, oh, okay, this is a new Prism product. We got to jump on it. So a company hyping up its own wrestling product, that's a big deal to begin with. But wait, there's more. Believe it or not, WWE actually started running small promos and ads for WWE Prism on their own TV product. The stars were aligning for this to be the biggest and most popular wrestling card release of all time. Finally, wrestling cards were going to be up there with F1, with soccer, with Marvel maybe. Of course, we know, we've talked about this before, it's not going to be the baseball, basketball, football. Maybe we knock hockey off the pedestal. Wrestling cards are finally going to get the respect that they've needed for all of these years. This is what everybody wanted, again, right? Well, maybe not. But let's start with the pros. I do think that this release kind of compounded on the AEW Upper Deck release that we had at the first of the year, as far as getting more people into wrestling cards. Again, whether that was people just trying to come in and make money, or whether it was people that were kind of living that nostalgia that they used to love when they were a kid, and they're just now getting back into it. Then there's maybe like a cross-section of those where people got in to make money, they start seeing the product and realizing, man, these wrestling cards are actually cool, maybe I should PC some of these. And all of that is a good thing, in my opinion. When it comes to the participants in the wrestling card space, the more the merrier, I say, but there were some cons. The first thing I noticed is we've got everybody talking about Prism, right? These big sales, which we'll talk about that in just a minute also. Basically, the word is out about Prism, but when it comes to the hobby talking heads, the big platforms, the major podcasts that are out there, they were just getting pushed aside again. Once again, wrestling pushed aside. And this isn't anything new, and I may sound like a broken record talking about it, but I'm going to keep talking about it. The mainstream talking heads, you know, the hobby influencers, big podcasts in the sports card space, collectible space, major platforms, lots of followers. Why don't they talk about wrestling cards? Why don't they dig into these sets? Why don't they find out about the collector base? What makes certain cards more rare and certain talent more valuable than others? They do this for all other segments of the hobby. Again, F1, golf, tennis, Marvel. They dig into these things and they talk about them, but yet here's wrestling over here, and again, they're just like laughing it off, essentially. As usual, WWE Prism was briefly mentioned on a lot of these podcasts or a lot of these social platforms, and then going, okay, let's move on to the next thing. And it's funny that they're like, oh, let's move into the next thing, which the next thing that they're talking about, the markets for all that stuff is completely in the toilet right now, while wrestling just seems to have a steady growth over time. Not huge, but steady. You could also say that the collector base is also steady too. It feels like we're getting more and more people into it little by little. And I guess maybe that they don't want to talk about wrestling cards because there's nothing you can do with wrestling cards to make it like a clickbait, drama-filled title, right? Just not enough zeros and not enough bros in wrestling cards. Whatever, I guess. But the zeros, the not enough zeros, that is something that may be warranted. And that actually leads me into the second point that we're going to talk about for the Panini release of WWE Prism, and that is shill bidding and unpaid items. So, Panini released WWE Prism, we start seeing the boxes ripped, and we start seeing some big cards being pulled. Color blasts, golds, one-of-ones, shimmers, low-numbered parallels, these rookie cards. And many of them were going straight to eBay. We start seeing some big-time sales on these, and I'm like, okay, this is getting some momentum. Only to see them go unpaid or canceled. And then many people were also saying, hey, a lot of these auctions, I bet they're shill bid. Okay, so then you start seeing these same cards that were canceled, unpaid, shilled. They start going again, put up back again on eBay. This time, they're going for half the price, and they just keep dropping. And then even at those lower prices, they're still canceled, unpaid, or still shilled. Apparently, WWE Prism should have been marketed as the product that's a race to the bottom. So what really gives with all this shady stuff going on? Does WWE Prism really suck this much? Are the true collectors out there not believers in this product, and they're not willing to put down the big time money for these cards? Well, first and foremost, I want to blame eBay for this. I love eBay. I run a full-time eBay store, as I've said several times. I love their platform overall, but they've really got to step in and start putting a stop to this. And I know that eBay directly doesn't have anything to do with the WWE Prism release per se for this video, but I had to mention it. eBay's got to step up and change the rules on these canceled and unpaid items, and this goes across their entire platform, not just trading cards. So about the shilling, that's no surprise to me. This is something that's been going on forever in pretty much all collectible markets, and it just is what it is. And I mentioned in the last segment kind of a race to the bottom. Why didn't they name this Panini Prism race to the bottom. Well, that leads me to my next point, which is the fall in prices. So let's look and break down some of this stuff. First and foremost, base cards. The first available cards that we saw that were pulled, some of the big names, and then of course the rookie cards, which was maybe Gable Steveson and Braun Breaker. We started seeing a lot of those cards go for a pretty decent amount of money. And at first, people are like, whoa, there's going to be so much value in these cards. Base rookie cards selling for hundreds of dollars. But it was predicted by myself and many others in the hobby that, hey guys, these base card prices, they're going to start dropping. Even some of the higher paralleled cards or the unnumbered parallels, they're going to start coming down as well as more of this product gets opened and more of it's available. That's just kind of how all modern cards work, unfortunately. What's interesting though is we also started seeing the prices of hobby box going down, selling for over $1,000 before and just kept going up and up and up. All of a sudden, you could start getting them like $600-$700, even lower possibly by now. That is not something that normally happens. This is one of the first times I can remember seeing sealed product actually going down in value as the product is being opened. Most of the time, sealed product is always going up, even after things are open. That begs to question, did Panini front load this product? So like the first off the line and the first several boxes they shipped, did those have the big cards we were starting to see? Again, the colored blasts, the one-of-ones, etc. Does that mean the rest of the unopened boxes, the sealed product that I'm holding some, and the ones that everybody else has, does that mean those are total trash? I'm not sure, but it's some ideas that kind of come to my mind as I'm thinking, why did the value go down so quick? But again, let's dig into that a little bit more. If you look, a lot of the shill bid items and the unpaid items were for the higher end cards in the set that were pulled. Stuff that's rare and numbered, paralleled, as I've said before. Hypothetically, that's a built-in scarcity factor because it's stamped. There's only so many of those cards. So why were those cards starting to fall in value? I saw a few things that made me think about why that could be happening. The first thing, and it's no surprise to anyone really, and that's the people who decided to come into WWE Prism just to make some money. They ripped the product, had no interest in wrestling cards, and were just trying to recoup the money they spent on the boxes from ripping or doing box breaks. Speaking of box breaks, if you want some proof about how they don't care about wrestling cards, go find some past box breaks on YouTube or whatever platform that there's video of these on, and watch some of these clowns completely overreact to base rookie cards of people who WWE have already cut, yelling and screaming about parallels or autographs of wrestling talent that they don't know actually if they go look it up on the secondary market, get you a big whopping $5. You could also take into consideration the hobby and just kind of overall world market that we're in right now. With the inflation and economy and all that stuff the way it is, maybe people found themselves over-leveraged in cards. And maybe people are out there just trying to get money for anything they do have. Maybe they bought way too much Prism. Maybe they were, scratching the lottery ticket, so to speak, with some of these Prism hobby boxes. And whatever they got, they're just trying to recoup. But over here, you've got some true diehard wrestling card collectors. Many of them flat out refusing to pay the prices for the hobby boxes or shell out 4 or 5 figures for some of these really high-end rare cards of the big names. And for them, this was great news. They could go out there and start scooping up singles or piecing together sets or parallels or rainbows or whatever it is they wanted to do for quite a bit of a discount compared to if they would have tried to buy them first off the line, be it the first ones listed on eBay or whatever kind of marketplace they're buying on, or trying their luck at ripping hobby boxes. Earlier this month, I was joined by Flex Burkhead, and he ripped his last WWE Panini Prism hobby box, and I hope you guys will pause this video and go watch that if you are curious about what are in these hobby boxes. I don't want to give too much away about what was pulled, but let's just say that the reason we did it is to educate you guys, like what's in the box, what kind of parallels can you expect, how does this work? That way you can decide, do I want to go continue to rip product, or should I just be buying singles? Again, we do a lot of the stuff on this channel for educational purposes. So you, the viewers, don't waste your money, or if you don't care so much about wasting your money, you maybe know a little bit more about certain products. So thus far, WWE Panini Prism has seemed like a total bust, right? Or has it? Because my final point in this month's Market Watch video for April 2022 is record-setting prices for the limited rare wrestling cards. While I did say earlier that it seemed like to be a race to the bottom for some of these high-end rare cards, there are a few out there that have been maintaining their value, if not slightly going up, setting record prices for raw wrestling cards sold. Huge shout out to Adam Gelman and Paul Anand from the Wrestling Card Price Guide. Those two guys have been doing some great work as far as researching eBay sales, private sales, keeping a spreadsheet going of those. Those two guys have been a great resource to kind of follow along with these sales. WWE Panini Prizm has produced several 5-figure wrestling card sales. And again, for wrestling cards, that's huge. I know we're not pulling LeBron triple logo, man, but maybe we'll get there. Hey, Backyard Breaks, maybe you guys need to start opening some wrestling products. Would that get wrestling cards further into the mainstream and put those extra zeros behind it? With those clowns, probably not. Back to the 5-figure sales, one thing I noticed is, okay, the majority of them, legends or really rare parallel cards, right? But it was cool to see names like Gable Steveson, or if you want to drop to like the 4-figure range, Braun Breaker. Some of these rookie cards on an initial release like that, it got me really excited. And I was thinking, maybe, wrestling prospecting could be a thing now. Most people look at that rookie card badge on many of these cards as the thing. You know, we've talked about it numerous times in past videos and pretty much the wrestling card hobby since its existence. What is the rookie card? Well, Panini Prizm's putting the rookie card logos on all of their rookie cards when they've kind of done their research, unlike what Upper Decks said they weren't willing to do that with the AEW stuff. Panini was like, hey, let's put the rookie card shield on the cards that we truly think are rookie cards, and the markets are showing there's a demand for that. As I stated, prospecting and rookie cards in wrestling could now be a thing. That being said, it could be a dangerous thing. But hey, that's no different than any other type of sports card. We're just like sports cards now. Let's take Gable Steveson. We've got people spending thousands of dollars on this guy, and he's never actually been in a WWE professional wrestling match. Just like people spending 6 figures on these baseball prospects that are 18 years old, never stepped foot on a major league field. And again, even though I don't participate in the kind of prospecting stuff a lot, I do a little bit, just dabbling with rookie cards or rare card sets or something. It does make me that much more excited because it means it's an additional chase within the product. And it kind of puts it on parallels, with no pun intended, with sports cards and kind of the traditional market of sports cards going all the way back to the mid-'80s, people stacking up on Greg Jeffries cards. Or hypothetically, Braun Breaker and Gable Steveson actually have huge careers in the WWE, and all of a sudden their base Prizm rookie cards start turning into what Luka or Zion was. I'm not saying it's going to happen, I'm just saying, looking at the parallels, you never know. So as we close this video out, I wanted to give some additional thoughts and opinions that I had about the inaugural WWE Panini Prizm release. Overall, I am still a huge fan of this product long term. There are a lot of people out there, both outside of wrestling cards and within wrestling cards, that are saying this product was all hype, pumped and dumped. There may be a little bit of that that's true, but I would venture to say that the majority of the people that are saying that simply don't understand or don't know how the modern sports card market works. The trends we saw in WWE are kind of what happens in every other aspect of modern cards. And I also don't think they understand the value of the first year Prizm of any kind of cards. And I mean, if you want an example of that, go out on eBay or whatever platform you want to buy stuff on and take a look at prices from the first and early Prizm releases of basketball, football, even baseball, which is unlicensed. If you look at those prices, they're going for a whole lot more than they were at retail. So that being said, I still think sealed product, be it blasters, hangers, hobby boxes, I think all of the sealed product of WWE Prizm is still a good hold long term. Everybody has seen the worldwide craze and huge popularity of box breaking right now. It seems like everybody and their brothers on Whatnot now, just selling whatever they can. And with that includes ripping wax, which means there's less supply in the market because every second probably there's another box being ripped. So it's a simple supply and demand. Like, there's less boxes available. Generally, that's going to drive up the value. And again, I want to go back to Braun Breaker and Gable Steveson being in this release. It's just like everything else, especially in the WWE, where they just decide they're going to release people at any given time. But those cards alone, hypothetically, let's say that turns into the 2002 Fleer Royal Rumble kind of set where, okay, we've got established rookie cards. These are the rookie cards of these specific talent. And maybe it's not even Gable Steveson or Braun Breaker. Maybe it's another rookie in that set that, 5 years down the road all of a sudden emerges as a huge talent. And then all of a sudden that's going to drive up the prices of boxes because people are going to be wanting to rip the boxes to try to find those rookie cards, be it base cards or parallels. And while we've also saw the prices going kind of down or stay stagnant at the low-numbered, rare, scarce parallels, I still see those slowly going up over time as well. Just like any other wrestling cards we've seen come before Prism. Slow, steady gain, but usually not having that huge hike. I think to kind of sum it all up, I think that too many people look at this WWE Prism release from a short-term perspective. I think long-term, years down the road, look at any wrestling product 5 to 10 years ago. The values are way higher than what they were then, and for some of those products, just when you look at the checklist and when you look at what they actually are, some of them don't offer what Panini Prism offered in this inaugural release. Thanks to everybody watching today. I hope this video brought you some value. If you did enjoy it, please hit that subscribe button. That's the best way you can help support this channel. Give me a like, and don't forget to check out the links in the show notes where you can find all the other things I've got going on. And when you're done with that, click the videos on the screen for more great wrestling card content. We'll see you there.